Doug Gottlieb here to discuss as we now turn the NBI collective eye to the June 25th draft, and today the final day, Doug, for players to either fully commit to staying in the draft or withdraw their names, having perhaps not hired agents. First, I want to get your thoughts on a couple of players who have the most to think about today.
Well, I'd go with two players. I mean, there are other guys that have pulled their name out, like Damian James, going back to Texas. They'll be a top 10 team. Or today, Jody Meeks turns down Kentucky and goes to the NBA draft, stays in. But two guys I think are maybe most interesting. Start with Austin Daye from Gonzaga. He's 6'10", built like a guy who really has a wingspan of a 7-foot player. He's immensely talented. He's really been good in private workouts, especially shooting the basketball. He's a skilled player. But he's either really weak or really soft, and he's going to have to sit on the bench or go to the D-League for a couple years, or he could go back to Gonzaga and be a star. Now, another player, how about former Big East Player of the Year Luke Herringody, who most people thought was just putting his name in to test the waters and see what it's like. He's really been impressive. And when you consider the likes of Glenn Big Baby Davis or Craig Smith, other undersized four men who were highly productive in college, being second-round draft picks, but being guys that stick and start with an NBA roster, Luke Herringody's stock is rising because of how well he's played, not just in private workouts, but you see him in college hoops. The guy can score, the guy can rebound. If you can rebound out of your zone in a draft that's really all about upside and kind of reaching, a lot of teams at the end of the first round are saying, here's a guy I know will make my team and make my team better because he can score and rebound off the bench.
You also wonder how he might match up with the Tyler Hansbrough, where they both might go. Meanwhile, you mentioned it, Jody Meeks staying in the draft, foregoing another year at Kentucky. Interesting decision by him. Quickly, what do you think of it?
I actually think it's a good move for Jody Meeks personally. He could have won a national championship in Kentucky. They have that type of talent. But next year's draft class is far deeper, far more stocked with lottery-level talent, which he is not. And so he gives himself a better chance to sneak into that first round or make a team in the second round. For him personally, it's better. For Kentucky, obviously this hurts. It takes away one of the top returning three-point shooters in the country.
I mentioned the global feel, of course. I do want to get your thoughts. Ricky Rubio, some say he might be the second, the third player to go in this draft. But Brandon Jennings, the American high schooler who decided to go over and play a year there in Europe, has said that Rubio is overrated. First, glass half full. What makes you think that perhaps Ricky Rubio could come over here and make a real impact?
Well, it's his ability to make people better. He is as close to a clone of Pete Maravich passing the ball. Make sure it's passing the ball, not shooting the basketball, as we've seen. Ricky Rubio has a flair for the fantastic jaw-dropping pass. He creates things for teammates that don't have the athletic ability that you're going to see in the NBA. So as an 18-year-old playing against the best competition not in the United States, he's already able to compete on a level playing field, whereas Brandon Jennings didn't. I understand where Brandon's coming from, because he's saying, look, in a one-on-one matchup, I'm better than him. And I really like Brandon Jennings, but they're so incredibly different. Jennings can score 20 and give you 10 assists, whereas Rubio is more of a 12 points, 12 assist guy. But I think Rubio may help you win more. Brandon Jennings is the type of guy that'll put more people in your seats, but I'm not sure he's the winner. I'm not sure he understands the nuances of leadership that Rubio has since the time he turned 14 and started playing top-level pro basketball.
And, of course, we saw flashes of brilliance from Rubio in the gold medal game this past summer against Team USA.
And he was playing with a bad wrist at the time, couldn't shoot.
Indeed. Glass half full would suggest the glass is, though, half empty. What, then, does he need to work on, Rubio?
Well, he needs to be a far better shooter. He needs to learn how to defend the American game. And when you look at the point guard position in the NBA, the Rondos, the Chris Pauls, the Derrick Roses of the world, they will simply go by you. But with zones, with guys sagging off, with the length of the NBA player, he has to become a more proficient shooter. He shot a much better percentage this year overseas, but it takes so long to get off. He almost aims it. And remember, you're going to be shooting a much deeper three-point shot. He has to become a better shooter if he wants to be effective and make those spectacular passes.
Again, it all works its way. June 25th, the NBA draft. You can see that right here on ESPN.